Hello everyone, my name is True, and before we hop into today's video, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on today's video. Please consider taking a second to hit the like button if you enjoyed the content or hitting the dislike button if you don't. And while you're at it, if you are not already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's the best way to support me and it only takes one click. And with all of that being said, enjoy the video.
You are now watching the True TCG.
Hey, how's it going guys? True here, back with another video. Hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Boltund VMAX from Fusion Strike. Overall, Boltund VMAX has some solid attacks and solid stats as well. Boltund VMAX for 2 energies, Bolt Storm. This attack does 30 more damage for each lightning energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Now this attack is especially powerful in the late game where we have a bunch of lightning energies built up and we can hit for super hard and potentially one-hit KO a VMAX to win the game. Now its second attack, Max Bolt, is what we're primarily going to be looking to use in the early to mid stages of the game. For 3 energies, 230 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Max Bolt. Now obviously the recoil of Max Bolt is not a big deal since we can just look to use Bolt Storm or potentially just attach an Air Balloon to Boltund VMAX because it does have 2 retreat costs and move into another Boltund VMAX to use Max Bolt. So overall Boltund VMAX is a solid card. Along with Boltund VMAX, we pair it with Flaaffy, which has the super strong ability Dynamotor, which allows us once during our turn to attach a lightning energy from our discard pile to one of our bench Pokemon. This allows us to set up our Boltund VMAXs a lot faster to have the ability to chain attackers, and it also allows us to play Cheryl. Cheryl allows us to heal our Boltund VMAXs and potentially put us a few turns ahead of our opponent, forcing them to hit our Boltund VMAXs a few more times. And most decks in the format right now don't play Cheryl, so because we do play Cheryl, we can potentially outdo our opponent in the prize race and win the game that way. Now, because we do play Flaaffy, we actually play Cramorant V as well. Cramorant V is a super solid attacker in this deck. It has the first attack, Beat Catch, for 1 energy. It allows us to search our deck for up to 2 cards and put them into our hand. This attack is pretty powerful. If we need to use this in the early game, we can search out a couple of Flaaffys and potentially a couple of Boltund VMAX and just pieces to help us set up. But the primary reason we play Cramorant V is for the second attack, Spit Shot. For 3 energies, discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 160 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now this is really powerful combined with Flaaffy because we can simply set up a Cramorant V out of nowhere by using Dynamotor, and we can use Spit Shot to potentially finish off a damaged VMAX on our opponent's bench, or we can just look to use Spit Shot to potentially kill a couple of Inteleons, a couple of Sobbles in the early game as well. So obviously Cramorant V is essentially like a searchable boss's orders because we do play plenty of quick balls to search out Cramorant V. And yeah, so overall Cramorant V is a super solid tech in this deck. Along with Boltund VMAX, we also play 1 Crobat V. The reason I do play Crobat V is because sometimes with this deck you do find yourself with dead hands, and Dark Asset allows us to potentially find our Cheryls a lot easier, which is the primary reason we actually do play Crobat V. Overall, the rest of the list is pretty straightforward. We do play Stormy Mountain to be able to help search out our Boltund Vs and Mareeps in the early game. So we do play 3 of those. We play Escape Rope. We do play Switch, couple of switching options to help pivot our Boltund VMAXs to the bench. The search options are pretty straightforward. And we do play, and the other noteworthy thing to note is that we do play Zinnia's Resolve. Zinnia's Resolve synergizes super well with this deck because we do have a couple of resources we might not want to discard, so we can play Zinnia's Resolve to allow us to maintain most of our hand. We only have to discard two cards from our hand, which most of the time are actually going to be basic lightning energies, which directly fuels Flaaffy's Dynamotor ability. And Zinnia's Resolve lets us draw a bunch of cards if our opponent has a lot of Pokemon in play. So yeah, that is the one other noteworthy thing to note. And yeah, other than that, the list is pretty straightforward. And with all of that being said, let's get into some games. Alright, so hopping into our very first game here against Aura Nose. good luck to him or her. We're going to be calling the coin flip. Let's call tails. And we do lose the coin flip, unfortunately. Most of the time, the coin flip doesn't actually really matter because we do want to go second. And most decks in the format want to go first. And like I said, our opponent's going to opt to go first here. And our starting hand's not looking terrible. We do unfortunately start the Cramorant V, so that definitely takes away the element of surprise Cramorant V usually brings to this deck. But we do have Stormy Mountain to search out a Boltund VMAX. We have a Lightning Energy to attach to the Boltund V, and we have the Switch as well. So overall, not the greatest starting hand, but not the worst either. Definitely not a dead hand, and it looks like we are up against some sort of single strike deck, which isn't the greatest matchup in the world for us. Obviously, single strike Urshifu V does hit us for weakness, which does take away our value of Cheryl. So hopefully we can overcome this in this matchup, and our opponent actually opts to discard the single strike Urshifu V, which is pretty good for us, and they're just gonna hit the pass over to us. So let's see what we can make work this turn. Let's use the Stormy Mountain here. Let's get out a Boltund V, have a look through the deck. We did prize one Mareep, our other Flaaffys in our hand. Yeah, let's see what else we prized here. We did prize a Cheryl. We actually didn't prize any energy, so that's kind of impressive, I guess. We didn't prize any air balloons. Looks like we prized our escape rope. But overall, nothing too noteworthy. We prized 2 Marnies actually, which is kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie, but overall, not too big of a deal. I think I'm just gonna get out this Boltund V and do a 1-2 Marnie or research. Now our opponent only has a 4-card hand. They didn't do a whole lot last turn. I think I'm just gonna opt to research here. Despite the fact we're discarding a couple of resources, I guess I don't really want to get rid of this Marnie, but I think just seeing the most cards here is the optimal play to make. So I'm gonna go with the research here. Hopefully see a few good cards. No Mareeps to work with is super unfortunate. Yeah, that's definitely a little bit unlucky. We haven't seen a single quick ball or level ball, so that's definitely a little bit unfortunate there. So I'm just gonna go with the electrify here. And I'm not even sure what I want to charge up. Do I want to charge up the Cram? I think I'm just gonna put both on the Boltund VMAX to set up the Max Bolt for the following turn, and hopefully our opponent's not going to be able to KO our Boltund V this turn. So let's see what our opponent's got going for them. There is one Houndoom. They attach a fighting to the Umbreon V. There's the single strike war. So our opponent needs to find a switching option. And okay, so just the pass from our opponent. Okay, so we definitely made the correct play and not marring our opponent. I am definitely pretty content with that, to say the least. So now the question becomes, what is the play? What are we going to do now? So we're gonna get out a Mareep here. We can actually just go for a beat catch here, but I don't really think that's the best play to make. If I'm being honest, we can just attack with Boltund V as well. Just look to Bolt Storm, or we can move into the VMAX here and actually just look to use Bolt Storm or Max Bolt. Maybe we can use Zinnia's Resolve this turn as well. I'm not entirely sure what we really want to do here. Yeah, let's think this through here. If we VMAX, we can. Let's use Zinnia's Resolve. I think using Zinnia's Resolve here is the optimal play to make. We can Zinnia's Resolve away a Lightning Energy and maybe a Stormy Mountain. I think those are the 2 cards that we don't really need here. Just look to draw 3 cards, and there's a Speed Lightning Energy. Okay, this is looking pretty good, so we can see a few more cards off of this. There's a research for the next turn. There's another Boltund V. This is looking pretty solid, if I do say so myself. Next turn, our opponent's going to hit us pretty hard, but it's not going to be enough to one-hit KO us quite yet. Yeah, I think we can actually just VMAX the bench. I actually think this is fine, and just attack with Bolt Storm. This way, we can just smack our opponent. Next turn, using Max Bolt, and yeah, just prevent the VMAX from getting damaged. So I think this is the best play to make here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go for the Bolt Storm here. Gonna hold off on attaching the Air Balloon here. And yeah, our opponent definitely has a dead hand so far, and hopefully they don't draw anything too good off of their top deck. So let's see what our opponent can make work this turn. There is the single strike roar from our opponent once again. They opt to attach the energy. There it is. And yeah, we can definitely look to KO this next turn, assuming they do not get a VMAX here. Yeah, we're just hoping our opponent just attacks, and that's going to be the turn, right? So there's the VMAX from our opponent. So they're actually going to be able to bring up our Boltund VMAX, which is which is a little bit annoying, but they actually opt to not do it. Is that a bug? Our opponent opted to just not bring up, the ability showed up, but our Boltund VMAX did not get gusted. I'm a little bit confused there. Yeah, they definitely should have gusted this, so I'm not too sure what's happening on our opponent's end, but I'm definitely not complaining about it. So let's promote the Boltund VMAX here. Let's see what we can make work this turn. There is a there's the Flaaffy top deck. That's pretty solid. We can look to potentially just attach, use Ordinary Rod. Let's play the Ordinary Rod here. I think this is okay. Let's check the discard pile. Oh, I actually can't, so I'm just gonna shuffle 2 Pokemon here. Probably just skip back these 2. Feels fine with me. And let's use the Stormy Mountain here. Search out, I guess another Flaaffy feels okay. Getting out another, getting out another Boltund V feels pretty good as well. So we can probably prioritize doing that. Get the Dynamotor here onto the Boltund V here. Go ahead and attach the energy to the active and just use Crobat V to draw 5 new cards and see what we can make work here. So nothing too great off of this, unfortunately. We can go ahead and use Quick Ball, get rid of an Evolution Incense, search out a Mareep here, and yeah, no boss's orders, unfortunately. We could have looked to boss this single striker Urshifu V, which is definitely a threat we need to look out for. But overall, we're still not in a terrible position. We do have a couple of Flaaffys and Boltund VMAXs left in the deck, so I'm just gonna go with the research here. Hopefully see a couple of new cards, and okay, this follow-up's not looking too bad, and I think I'm just gonna go with the Max Bolt here, and yeah, just hit our opponent pretty hard here, and we can actually look to finish it off with Cramorant V the next turn. So yeah, that's what I mean by saying that's what I mean when I say that Cramorant V is a solid card to have overall, because it just allows us to finish off our opponent's damaged Vs. And our opponent's gonna use Single Strike Roar to the Single Striker Urshifu V. There's the Quick Ball from our opponent. Let's see what they grab. There's another Houndour, so opponent's getting pretty darn set up here, and our opponent's gonna just go with the Max Darkness. So if we top deck a Flaaffy, it would be super good. No such luck, unfortunately. I was going to say we could look to we could have looked to potentially Cheryl here and then just go with the Cramorant V, finish off the VMAX here, but unfortunately we don't have such luck. I guess we can still Cheryl here technically. Is Cheryling even gonna make too big of a difference? I don't think it is, because our opponent just one-hit KOs us with Single Striker Urshifu V anyways the following turn. So I need to think about what I want to do with this hand. We could go for a Marnie here. That doesn't feel like the strongest play, to say the least. We could look to boss. Just gonna Quick Ball away Boltund V to have some more time to think. We're just gonna grab out another Boltund V. Let's see what we can make. We can attach Lightning to the Boltund V, 40, 70, 100, 130, 160, 190. We don't quite one-hit KO the Single Striker Urshifu V, unfortunately. I think I'm just going to use Dynamotor here. Attach Lightning to the Cramorant V, potentially set this up for a Spit Shot the next few turns here. Maybe we still Cheryl here. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, our opponent's definitely probably going to have to KO the following turn. Yeah, so if they yeah, this is pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. So let's attach to the Boltund V here. We're hitting 40, 70, 100, 130, 160, 190. Yeah, we are just 1 energy short from being able to KO this Single Striker Urshifu V, and we would have actually been in a really solid spot. I'm not gonna lie. So 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. Actually, we can still KO this. So actually, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I totally forgot about using Bolt Storm here. So we're actually just gonna be able to Bolt Storm, take a KO on the Single Striker Urshifu V, and the following turn we can look to Cramorant V, KO the Umbreon VMAX. So we've got our plays lined up here. We're looking pretty solid, and yeah, let's see what our opponent can potentially pull together in the next few turns. I think their optimal play is to set up a Single Striker Urshifu V, boss our Cramorant V, and KO it, because they can't really attack with the Umbreon VMAX this turn. So yeah, we're looking like we're in a pretty solid spot. Yeah, I totally forgot about Bolt Storm here, but it does 30 plus, not just 10 plus, and hey, our opponent's gonna scoop out up there. We take a dub, and against what I would say is a pretty rough matchup, because they do hit us for weakness, but hey, we were able to capitalize on the fact that our opponent was breaking, and yeah, that's gonna do it for game 1, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Alrighty, so getting into our next game here against Male Manuel 182. Good luck to him or her. Let's go heads for once. Tails might never... Okay, I should have called Tails because Tails obviously never fails, but it's not going to really matter. Our opponent's going to opt to go first, which is what we want, and our solid hand's looking pretty strong. We're missing an energy and another Boltund V, but we have the two pieces we really want here. I'm going to opt not to bench the Mareep because I don't want to get escape roped here. And yeah, it looks like we are up against Dragapult, which is not the greatest matchup in the world because they do have the ability to spread, but it's not the worst either because we do have access to Cheryl and a couple of other things. I'm going to quick ball away Evolution Incense here. Going to go for another Boltund V, and yeah, go for the Marnie. Despite the fact our opponent didn't do too much with their hand last turn, they definitely could have a Drizzile, Draw Supporter, a VMAX, or more energy, so definitely feel like this is the play to make. And yeah, this follow-up hand's looking pretty darn solid if I do say so myself. I'm going to have access to Crobat V for the next turn, which is what I'm going to play the Crobat V next turn because playing it this turn doesn't make too much sense. We already have all of the pieces we really want turn one. I don't really need anything else on the board at this stage. So our opponent's going to get the second energy here. And there's the research from our opponent, getting rid of a Marnie and a couple of other things. So pretty good for us. They got rid of an Inteleon and a Switch, as well as a Marnie. So we'll take that. And looks like our opponent's got the VMAX in the active. There's a Dragapult V. So yeah, so our opponent's definitely going to be putting on the pressure now, but overall we can still definitely swing this back into our favor. So let's see what we can make do here. Our opponent's probably going to put 5 on the Mareeps, or okay, they're definitely going to spread the damage here, which definitely makes sense here. So we're going to attach the energy to the Boltund V. We're going to play the Evolution Incense, get out of Boltund VMAX, and we're going to evolve the bench Boltund V, look for a potential switch, and we're going to Crobat V, draw 5 cards. So let's draw 5 cards here. Let's see what we get. Nothing too great. We can actually, this is pretty good. What am I saying? So we can evolve the Flaaffy, we can attach Air Balloon to the active. I feel like we can actually VMAX the active because we could potentially look to Cheryl the following turn, and we don't really want our Boltund V to get KO'd, if I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to VMAX here and go for the Marnie. I don't really think we have a reason to boss the bench Dragapult V. We just want to hit the active, so I'm going to go for that here. Let's play the Marnie. See 5 new cards, looking to hit a Cheryl. There's the Cheryl, so that's pretty solid. So yeah, we can just look to just chill this turn and just attack. Yeah, so the only thing we're really missing here is another Flaaffy, I think. So yeah, but so I think I can actually go for Stormy Mountain, get out another Mareep, distance the deck, and it also allows us to have the Cheryl out for the next turn. And yeah, I think we're just gonna go for the Max Bolt this turn, hit our opponent pretty hard here, and yeah, see what they've got going for them. We actually KO them with Bolt Storm now that I'm looking at it, so maybe this was a little bit of a misplay getting out the Mareep. Maybe this was a little bit of an overextension, but it is what it is now. The past is in the past, and our opponent's gonna go for a Drizzile here. Probably gonna get a Fog Crystal or some way to set up this Dragapult V, and yep, there's the Fog Crystal. And yeah, our opponent's got the Path to the Peak in the play, but that doesn't really matter now since we've already used our Crobat V, which is actually another liability. And there's the Marnie from our opponent. That is brutal. We don't like to see that. Yeah, this is definitely going to disrupt us quite a bit. No Cheryl to work with, but we do have a Marnie follow-up, so not terrible, I guess. And yeah, so let's see what our opponent's got going. Yeah, we have a few turns to find the Cheryl again. Yeah, that Marnie definitely being super annoying there. We had everything we could have wanted in that hand, but our opponent just takes it away. So our opponent's probably going to KO this Mareep, set up this Flaaffy here, and yeah, we're definitely struggling here. So our opponent definitely has access to quick shooting Inteleon, so they can't KO this Flaaffy the following turn. So our opponent's definitely doing a pretty good job of putting us against the clock. So I think I just attached to this Boltund V here. Probably just go with the Marnie. Yeah, so let's see what we draw. Boltund V boss's orders, no such luck in finding a Cheryl here. So I feel like I almost want to bench this Boltund V here. Let's have a look through the deck, see what we have left. We can actually search out this Boltund V. I think that's probably the better play to make, because there's a very likely chance that our Boltund VMAX is going to get KO'd the following turn. So I feel like, yeah, we're going to hit this. We're going to take 20 from the horror, so we'll be at 170. They can evolve, go for a quick shooting, KO with this Dragapult VMAX. So I feel like we probably need to get out another Boltund V, get it set up pretty soon. So let's play the quick ball, I guess, get rid of this Boltund V, just thin out a couple of more cards, and no, we definitely don't want to reveal the Cramorant V quite yet. Yeah, I just feel like we can just go for a Bolt Storm, and yeah, hit our opponent pretty hard here. 180, we take 3 prize cards, but overall, we're definitely still in the backseat. So maybe we prized the Cheryl. I didn't check. No, we looks like we're not going to get a Cheryl from the prize cards. So our opponent's going to take the KO, and we're looking to set up another Boltund VMAX here. There is the energy attachment from our opponent. There's the quick ball getting rid of another switch. Yeah, I'm not used to seeing this many switches from our opponent, and they're actually going to be able to set up the double KO here. So this is actually super bad for us, because now our opponent is just a boss away from being able to secure the victory. So unless our opponent somehow whiffs the quick shooting Inteleon, I guess they could definitely be bricked here. I'm not ruling away that option. And actually, there's just a Max Phantom from our opponent, so they're going to. So our opponent's still a boss away from winning the game, but they didn't do too much with their hand last turn. So I'm not entirely inclined to play the Marnie, I guess, if that makes sense. And there's a Speed Lightning. Okay, so this could find us the Cheryl. This is a really big deal. So yeah, let's keep in mind our opponent wins next turn unless we get a Cheryl. Yeah, so let's play the quick ball here. I think we can get rid of this Mareep pretty safely here. Let's get out the Cramorant V. There's really no point in keeping it a secret anymore. And let's attach the Speed. We can't even really attach the Speed Lightning, I guess, because then we wouldn't have an attachment after we Cheryled. We would just have access to one Dynamotor, unfortunately. So I don't really think it's gonna do us too big of a deal here. But I still think we have to go for it. So let's attach the Speed Lightning here. Do we find the Cheryl? No, we do not. That's pretty bad. So let's play the Evolution Incense here. Get out another Boltund VMAX, I guess, at this point. And yeah, I think we just have to hit into this Dragapult V. We could look to boss something, but I don't think that's going to do us a whole lot here. Yeah, I'm just going to attach the Air Balloon, retreat, hope that our opponent doesn't have a boss's orders here. Maybe it wasn't the best decision to bench another Boltund V. At this point, I'm not really too sure. So let's just go for the Max Bolt. Hope for the best. If our opponent has a dead hand, they do lose the game. But if they have the boss's orders, or if they have a Drizzle, they do take home the dub here. They had access to 2 cards. They could have seen a Level Ball or a Drizzle. No, just a Max Phantom. So we're actually going to be taking a dub here against Dragapult VMAX, which is definitely pretty fortunate for us. Our opponent did brick here, but a win is a win. And yeah, so that's going to do it for the video here after we click Bolt Storm. And yeah, there's a concession from our opponent, and that's going to do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I showed off the power of Boltund VMAX, and yeah, please consider liking the video and subscribing, and as always, remember to have a good day, stay safe, and peace out.